now we've got editing done. Now we want to actually save our photos out. That's the whole point. We want to show people on the internet, or we want to print them out. Either way, we need to actually figure out how we want to do that. Now, we're going to go through two ways. We can do the manual way, or we can set up a preset so we just get the same consistent output every time, and we can do various different ones. So we're just going to head back in and we're going to start actually doing that, okay? Okay guys, I know this isn't Lightroom, but before we get into Lightroom and we're going to do our outputting, we're going to make a quick customized watermark that you can use in Lightroom. So we're just going to open a new canvas, and that's Control or Command if you're on Apple, and N. Here we go, and I've already got the width in here. It's going to be 500, it's going to be by 300, and that's in pixels, and we're just going to press OK up here. Here we go. Now we've opened a new window. I'm just going to drag this up until a blue line appears up the top here. There we go. And I'm just going to make it into a tab so it centralizes the entire thing. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer. And to do that, we're just going to press Shift, Control, and N again. As you can see, it'll come up and say New Layer. Now, I don't usually do it this way. What I actually do is I just come down to the bottom here, and I just press there, and as you can see, just a new layer just pops straight up. It's the quickest way I find of doing it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to get our brush tool, which is just right here, or you can press B, and that'll bring it straight to it. And if we press up on this little icon here, this gives us our brush types. And now I'm going to use, as you can see, I have selected already my brush. It's just a circle, and what I've done is I've just gone in here and I've just tilted it slightly. And this will tell you the hardness or the softness of the edge of the brush. I'm going to go for a hard one. And spacing can be bigger, but I'm going to make it small here, and the size is going to be pretty small for this. I'm just going to click here to close that window. I also have it on the side here, but most of the time you can just go to preference up here and it'll let you play with things. But we're just going to keep it like this, nice and simple. And I'm just going to write my name, which is Peter Rush. And that's my signature. So that's that quickly done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to do this with text, because you might not want to write your name, you might not be very good at it. That actually took me quite some practice time, I'll be honest with you. So I'm going to use the text as well. So we can either go down here to the text tool, or we can just press T on our keyboard, and it'll change to the text tool. And I'm just going to drag this along here to make a window. Somewhere about this size for now. And there we go, there's our window. I'm just going to click there. As you can see the icons there, and I'm just going to type FallenDemon Photography. Let's hope this actually fits. Oop. Not quite, so we're just going to drag the side out here. And drag it out along here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the copyright symbol. Now there is no actual button for this, so what you have to do is you have to hold down the Alt key and type 0169. And there we go. And that'll bring the copyright symbol up. Now that's it. That's pretty much all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything else. The other thing is, if you are playing with the text, if you want to change it or the font or whatever, if you just double click on the T here, it'll select and highlight the whole thing. And if we just go to our fonts, and we can actually adjust this in here. We can adjust the color, and you can see what it looks like. You do just whatever color you want, up and down, darker or lighter. I'm actually going to stick with the black. Quite simple, straightforward. If I do want to change the type size, I can make it smaller, or I can make it larger by dragging it across here, or just going up and down and picking. I can do various things. I'm actually just going to move that back. That's just no longer fitting. And let's try that at about 7, shall we? There we go. Perfect. Just enter. I'm just going to close that window again. And that's pretty much how we get it. And we just click on this, it'll just leave the whole thing. I'm going to move this layer so it's more in line, and all I have to do is use my move tool here, click on it, make sure I'm on that layer, and click on the item. And I'm just going to move it to there, so about there. Okay, so there we go. That's just a quick one. Now what we are going to do here is this background layer, which is white, we're going to delete that. So we're just going to click on it, and we can press the delete button, or we can drag down to the bin here, whichever is easiest for you. And there we have a clear background. I'm going to need the clear background because we just want the actual signature here and this to actually turn up on the photo. We don't want a white block. Now, in order to make sure that that's how it saves out, we have to go up to File, go down to Save As, wait for it to open. We'll just go down to Pictures, and I'm going to open a new folder here. Just go down to New Folder, and I'm just going to call that Watermark. And open there. Now I'm going to change that to Watermark as well, so it's titled. And then here where it says tip, I'm actually going to change that by clicking on this right button here and going to PNG. Now that means when it saves out, because you'll need it to either be a JPEG or a PNG when you're in Lightroom in order to add it. If it's a PNG, it will keep this clear background that we have over here. If we do it as a JPEG, it will make it white, and we don't want it to do that. So JPEG it is. We just save. Okay. And there we go, we have that done. That's a quick, customizable signature watermark in Photoshop. So we're going to head right back into Lightroom now, okay? Okay guys, so here we are back in Lightroom with our picture selected. I'm going to go through a manual output first. So we're just going to right click, come down to Export, up to Export, wait for this window to open, and here we are. So I have it to hard drive. You might do it to an external, but I leave it to my hard drive and I always kind of clean up later on. And I'm not going to change this. I'm going to leave this as choose folder later, useful for presets, because that's what we're going to eventually do. And we want to choose, because we've created folders over here, Pacific, we're going to choose where they go. And so I'm going to existing but ask what to do always. And if we come down to file settings here, I'm going with JPEG and RSGB, and I'm going to bring that up to 100%. I want the best quality out of it. It's a slightly larger file, but it's worth doing. And that's pretty much all I need to do to make it into a JPEG. And all I have to do is press Export. It'll ask me where I would like to put this. I'm going to go to our photography. So here we are with our 4 folders. I'm just going to pick the output folder, and I'm going to press Select. Give that a moment to export. Right, so now that we have that done and it's exported it, you can see up there. You'll notice down here, though, the output folder's not registering that there's a photo in there. So it's the same as when we had the capture folder earlier. We had the synchronizer. So we go to the top of the folder, right click, and go to synchronize folder. There you can go. It's already recognized. All we have to do is press synchronize. And here we go. And there it is. It's now showing up, and there's it showing it. So if we go to the output folder, that's exactly what we got. We now have a picture we can use. So if we actually go down and bring up our folders here, and go back to the, and there we go, it's showing up. And there we go, we can even see it, we can preview it if we want to. There's our picture as a JPEG, can be seen by every program, and that will actually upload perfectly if you want onto the internet. It's a JPEG, it's the right file type, so we've gone from having a raw file to editing, and now we can just put it into a JPEG that quickly. We can make it even easier for ourselves. So we go back to the capture folder, go to attributes, so we see the pictures that we actually wanted to look at, flag. Now we can do a preset that will actually do all of these photos in one go without having to keep going into that. So we right click again, and we go down to export and up to export again. And here we go, we have all our settings. They're still in there from the last time we do it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press add. And it's going to ask for a preset. In this case, I'm going to call that output. Actually spelled right. There we go. And there we go, we have a preset on the side. So I'm just going to actually cancel that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Control and A whilst I'm in this window here. And that selects everything that's in there, every photo that's in there. So we have them all selected. I'm going to right click, I'm going to go down to export, but this time you'll see down here in the users preset, there's just this one we already made. So all we have to do is click on it, and all it does is ask us where we want to put them, the output folder. And there we go. That's telling me I've already got one, so I'm going to actually just skip that one. And we'll just wait for those to export. Okay, and there we go. Now that that's actually ended the task and we've got it in, you'll notice again, it still hasn't done the actual adding it there itself, so we'll have to go up to the top folder here, go to synchronize folder, there's the 6 new photos, and we just synchronize. And there we have it. As we see, it's going to add it in there, 3, 6, there we go. And if we just press in there, that's what we have. There's the photo we did earlier. And there we have all of the photos done in by pressing 1 once we got a preset. So from now on, you never have to go into the manual. But as we did earlier, we did make a watermark. So let's see about adding watermarks as we output at the same time. And again, we'll do it so as it happens the same every time. You just have to click on one of these presets. But for now, let's go back up to export. And here we go, we're back in here. Now we want all of these settings to be exactly the same. We're not going to change any of those, but we're going to scroll down. Here we have watermark, and if we open that dialog out and just scroll down, now we're going to click watermark, so this lights up, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to go to edit watermarks. So here we go, now we have it. Now you can see there's already a watermark actually copyright put in there, but what we're going to do first, we're going to use the custom one we made. Now as you can see here, PNG or JPEG, and we saved it as a PNG. So we're going to press choose, and we're going to go to pictures, where we have it, and there it is. Just click on it and open. And there we go. You see, it's actually in the corner. We're going to make that a little bit larger, so we can drag the corner out here. And we can adjust where we want that with this menu down here. So, fortunately, I'm going to move it slightly over this way so it fits in a bit better. I'm going to bring it down so it's not quite so high, so it's more in the corner. And with these here, you can actually just change the position on the actual photo you would like it to be. So I like the corner, but I'm just going to put it in this corner. It fits a bit better. It just looks that way. You can rotate it to the side if you want and just stick it in a corner or somewhere. Move it around again, vertically up. A little bit more this way. You can actually just place it wherever you want. I'm going to go back to this way, to be honest with you. I quite like it a bit more. Nope, wrong way around. There we go. This way a bit more. And you can play about with that as much as you like. And we're just going to press save. Now it's going to ask for it. I'm going to call that custom watermark. Press create. So there we go, custom watermark. Called it there. Comes up as a preset now. So we want to actually just, instead of exporting now, we're just going to add that to the presets. And we're going to call that custom watermark. There we go, and there we go, we have an ad. So I'm just going to cancel that for now, and then I'm just going to come on here, and I'm going to do Control A and select everything again. Right click, go down to export, and as you can see now we've got custom watermark here. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to ask us where would we like to put that, and we're going to go back to 2017 to March 6th, and we're going to go to output and select. We're going to use unique names in this one. Now we're just going to wait for that to export now. And as you can see, now it's finished exporting those all out. But again, it hasn't added them, so we'll just do this again to synchronize the folder. Now you won't have to keep doing that if you just do this once when you have your preset. I just have to keep doing it because I'm showing different ways of doing it. Give that a moment, you'll see in a second. There's our watermark, and it'll take a moment to pop up on each one of them. But there you have a JPEG actually done. We just go into the output, we can see them both. So JPEG without a watermark, if you don't want to have one on it, it's very simple, just straightforward. There's one if you have a custom one, same settings, so they're both the same photos and JPEGs. This one just comes with a watermark automatically done to all of your pictures without having to do it to each individual one. It's just done completely for you. Now the next thing is, if you haven't done the custom and you don't want to, or you don't use Photoshop and you just want to actually have, you know, a very simple straightforward watermark on it, that's not a problem. You can just go down to export, go back up here to export again, and we want to keep all of that because JPEG, we're all happy with that. Watermarks, so we can just come down here and go to edit watermarks, and up here we're on the graphics because we chose using it. So we go back to text, this all lights up and we get this box here, and we can just play with that just the same as the last one. So that one's a bit off, so I'll just leave it there. And we can just go back up here and, well, we can change the color. So let's say we change that to black. We just click over there. There we go. Change the type. I'm a bit prefer Arial, so I'm just going to go up to the top here. And there we go. Arial. Quite happy with that. And now all I have to do is type in here what I want to actually say. So, FallenDemon photography. Now, I'm going to add in the copyright symbol that we had earlier. So that was Alt 0169. I'm going to take my finger off Alt There it goes, it pops up. Now as you can see that doesn't fit anymore, so we're going to have to change the size, which is easily done here. We just go down to proportional and just bring that down. Now I'm going to take the opacity down. That's a bit too harsh, I think. And you know, I'm going to change the position of this one. I'm going to put it up in the top corner here, and I'm going to rotate that way. And I'm going to have it going down that way, just for something different this time. And again, we're just going to press save. It's going to ask for, we're just going to say copyright watermark. There we go. And then we're going to add that to this, and again, we're going to call it copyright watermark. And create. And there we go. Cancel that for now. And I'm going to go on Control-A to select everything. Right click, come down to export, and there's our copyright watermark. Just click on that, ask where you want it, output, absolutely, and select. And we'll wait for that. Oh, unique names, because I've got more than one version in there. And we'll wait for that to export. It'll take a few moments. Okay guys, and there we go. The export has been finished. But again, I'm going to have to synchronize this folder. Well, actually, mother folder here. Synchronize 7 new photos. Synchronize those. And here we go. They're popping up now. And we'll see down here the watermark in a second. There we go. And it'll slowly pop up on the rest of them as they all come together. So if we actually go into our output folder, we have 21 photos. I'm just going to hide this side here so we can see them all next to each other. There we go. So here we have a complete just JPEG output. Very simple. No watermark if you don't want. One here with a custom watermark if you want, or one here with a typed watermark that you don't have to go use Photoshop at all for. And there we have the best ways I know really to actually output very quickly, very straightforward, and it works very easily and straightforward. Now, there are some people who are just going to notice now, well, hold on a second, we've only used 2 of the 4 photos that folders we made earlier. Well, there's a reason for that. These 2 actually relate to Photoshop, not Lightroom as such, but I put them in there because they're organizational skills. So we're going to go through that for a second. So I'm just going to go back to capture. Again, I'm going to bring up the attributes to get the photos we want to see. The original we started with. Go back here and flag. There we go. Right. So if I've got a photo I've taken and I've done a little editing in it, but I want to take it into Photoshop. In fact, I've edited it in Lightroom just to bring up the colors and that before I bring it into Photoshop, because it's easier sometimes when you're already looking at it here. But I don't want it to be JPEG. I want it to be a photo with actual quality information in it that I can use in Photoshop, so I get the best quality I possibly can. That's when I create another output here, an export. We're going to go up to it. I'm going to change some of the outputs because I want to actually keep as large a file as possible for as much information in the color and that, so I can work with it in Photoshop. But I want to have the edits I've done in Lightroom to be applied to them. So the main thing I'm going to change is we're just going to come down here to image format, and instead of JPEG, I'm going to go down to TIFF. I'm going to make sure it's in these settings, but the main thing here is this 16-bit. I actually want it to be in 8-bit, because 16-bit in Photoshop means when you render things, it takes an awful long time to do it, because there's an awful lot more information, and I don't really need that, because I've already adjusted colors and everything, which is the main thing you need the most information for in Lightroom. So I'm just going to change this to 8-bit. And after that, I'm not going to change anything else, but I am going to go add. I'm going to give that a name of select and make it a preset. And there we go, there it is. And then I'm just going to press export. And just like before, it's going to ask me where I'd like to put it, but this time I'm going to stick it in the select file. So I know it's selected to work in Photoshop with. And we're just going to press select, and it's going to do it. Now, it's going to look the same photo, but the information is going to be larger than the JPEG, but I'm not having to deal with the raw file. But when I go into Photoshop, it will still open the raw extension if that's what you want to adjust again. It's that big a file, it will recognize it. There we go, that's in, and as before, I will have to synchronize that folder again, because otherwise Lightroom won't register there's something in that folder by itself. Right, so here we are. It's already in the select folder, and that's ready to go into Photoshop. And if we actually go down and we open a folder here, we go into Pictures, 2017, March, street photography, and there it is in our select folder. And that photo can be found easily and just put straight into Lightroom, or Photoshop, sorry. In fact, you can actually just right click, edit in, and go to Photoshop from there if you want, now that it's actually ready to go. But we are then left with this. The last is the master. We're going to have to go back into Photoshop to show you what that's like. And we're just going to do that now. So guys, here we are in Lightroom, and I've actually got our picture open here, and I've already done the work on the sky I wanted to do, because we're only just here to show you why this exists. So just to prove I have, there's what it was beforehand, and there we are with a new sky in it. And as you can see, here's all of my layers, and this is actually important because this is why we're going to do this. If I ever want to come back and say change this, because I go, you know, I don't like the sky, I want to change the color of it, whatever it is, in any edit you want to do, you're going to go back and refine it a bit more or take something out. You want to make sure when you come back to it, it has all of these layers, and that's what the masters file's for. So if we go up here, go down to save as you can see, we're here in street photography to select because that's where we got our photo out of, and we're going to go to the master file, and I'm going to name this new sky. Now, as you can see here, it's the save type. We're going to go for TIFF, which is what we opened it up in originally, but the TIFF format will actually save all of the layers that we want, and so when we open it, they'll be there automatically again. So if I just press save, here we go, you just press OK, I don't really change these, and here it goes. It'll tell you that you are keeping layers and it's going to increase the file size. That's okay, we're getting what we want. And right, now that that's saved, I'm going to actually close this. That's it. Now I'm going to go back in so I can see it. So I'm going to go to open, or Control and O. Yes, master file, new sky. We open it, and here we go, and there's all our layers still there. So we can still adjust any of these or add to it on top of what we've already done, and we've kept that file. So, okay, so we actually open up our files and have a look in pictures. Here we go. There's the captures are originals. There's the output that was straight out that had no editing other than what was done in Lightroom. If we wanted to go into Photoshop and do more, well, we have this as our original to use from, which has all of our changes from Lightroom, and there's our master. Now, if we go back into Lightroom, so here we are, guys, back in Lightroom. As you can see, the master isn't showing up, so as per usual, straight up to synchronize folder first, synchronize, and there we go. That is the master that we did. And as you can see, it shows up that the sky has been actually changed. And again, here we are, master, one photo in it. Now we can actually go back in and edit this and develop and do whatever we want with it, and then output it from here. So we can still play with it in Lightroom and maybe have a few adjustments if we want, put the watermark on it and output it right here again. Okay, so that's why we have 4 folders, guys. Well, that's the capture, master, output and select all covered. And now you have everything you need in order to be quick and efficient and get as much work as possible done, so you can get it out as quickly as possible to the people you want to see on the internet or for yourself. Okay guys, that's it. That's our entire workflow. So we've started by inputting, culling our photos, we've gone in and we've edited our photos, we've then gone and outputted them, but we've also learned how to put a watermark on it, and that's everything. If you keep to this plan, you're going to work so much more efficiently. Like I said before, you can get through hundreds of photos really, really quickly and get to the important bit we want, which is editing and sticking it up so people can see and enjoy our photos and see the world through our eyes. So I hope you enjoyed this, I hope you've learned and practiced with this. Also, when it comes to the editing end of this, please just go through all of it. There's a lot of ways to edit in Lightroom. So use them as much as possible. Test it. Don't be afraid to use these things, because as you've seen, nothing's permanent until you actually output it. So enjoy playing around, play with the saturation, play with individual colors, and just enjoy what you've learned. But most of all, get used to doing this. Do this over and over again until it becomes second nature with you. Go out on the streets or just get an object and just take hundreds of photos just so you can import and go through this process over and over again. And I promise you, if you do this, your editing will be really, really quick, and you can concentrate on taking photos rather than having to spend an awful lot of time post-processing, which is nice, but it's not what we're really here for, okay? So enjoy yourself, have fun with this, play about with it. Thank you very much.